I think people or any app like Facebook or stuff like that, people have a misconception. Well, I have 1,000 friends or more on Facebook, but
Mhm.
Friday night comes along and I don't have anything to do, anybody to go with.
Hello, hello, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome to the Kathy the Panda podcast. I'm your host, Kathy, your friendly neighborhood bipolar girl just finding her way through life. If you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating, and drop a comment on whichever platform you're on. Yeah, okay, so real quick, can I ask you something? When was the last time you made a brand new friend? Like a real one? You know, not a work colleague you're friendly with, not someone you follow on Instagram, an actual, genuine new friend. If you had to think about it for a while, you are not alone. Making friends as an adult is genuinely one of the hardest things nobody warned us about. And today, we are getting into why adult friendships are so hard to make and what we can actually do about it. And I have someone with me who didn't just study this problem, he actually built an entire app to solve it. My guest today is Gabor Kadas, the CEO and founder of Friending Inc. And, having lived in multiple countries across 2 continents, Gabor has experienced loneliness and social isolation firsthand, and he became passionate about solving it. He created the Friending app in response to a growing global crisis. With nearly 70 million people under 50 in the US alone reporting feelings of loneliness, Friending is a unique social app that focuses on building genuine, real life connections through shared activities and in person meetups. And here's something fun for my listeners. The app is actually currently available in the Philippines, Vietnam, and the USA. So, yes, that means us. So, yeah, Gabor, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I just want to make one correction. I'm the co-founder. The other founder is Jolt, who is the CTO. So it
Okay.
was us who did it, and I don't want to take all the credit for it.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me on that one. But yeah, it's such a great project. It's such a great concept that you guys created. But I want to know, like, what was your own experience with loneliness that led you to build Friending?
Yes, I was born in Central Europe in Hungary, but I grew up in the
Okay.
UK and then moved to Canada, then to the US, hence the 2 continents. And I also lived in Spain for a while. But yes, the problem is that it is difficult to make friends at a later stage in life. And basically, it is something that I've experienced because I moved around a lot. And specifically
Yeah.
in the US, the lifestyle is that people move from one side of the US to the other paths because of a job. So you may have some friends where you went to school with, but large percentage of people 5 years after they graduated are no longer in the same vicinity as where they
Right.
were at the time. So, on a personal level, I started school in Hungary, then moved to the UK, went back to Hungary for a while, finished university in the UK. So, I kept moving between UK and Hungary every 5, 6 years due to my
I
father's
see.
job. And whatever friends I made in one country, I lost and I had to start all over again in the other country.
Mm,
So then I moved to Canada, where I absolutely knew nobody after finishing university. I was there for 5 years. Then I moved to the US, again, where I didn't know anybody. So, and all this, of course, is pre internet age. So finding,
yeah.
local activities, local groups is even harder than today. Although I would say that finding worthwhile activities is today is also very difficult.
I would have to agree. But yeah, that's a lot of moving around, and that's actually quite brave of you to kind of come into a new place where you didn't know anybody. And I feel like that's a challenge on its own. But so you've been moving around all your life, but what was do you remember the exact moment that you and your friend decided to build this app to solve this problem?
Yes, my friend Joel started building it before I actually met him. And then when we met up, I realized that this is a wonderful project to get involved in. Based on my personal experience, I said to myself, hey, I could have used this. So I figured I only get involved in something that I personally find that I could have used or it's a great thing to have. And friending is certainly one of those things that I could have used and wish it was around at the time when I needed it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's really great that, based on your experience, you're able to create something that you can still use to this day, and that other people now have this new tool for them to solve a problem that was way harder to solve in the past. But let's go back to the main root or the main problem that we are facing. Why is making friends as an adult so much harder than it was when we were kids?
Statistically speaking, it is difficult to make friends after the age of 28. Why? I
Okay.
guess it's the way society has brought us up in the sense that when you're a 5 year old in a park and somebody is on a swing, for example, you have no inhibitions going up to him or her and say, hey, um, can I swing or can I do whatever? So at that age, you don't have any restrictions that society has placed upon you, and you're more able or braver in that respect, or you don't. I think brave in that sense means not having a sense of danger. I know it's not dangerous, but I, as a kid, was told that, of course, at a later age, don't talk to strangers. So,
Yes.
that sort of don't talk to strangers mentality, I would say rightfully in some respect, as I'm also a parent, but that's what you grow up with. So by the time you get to your teens or later on or whatever, this don't talk to strangers that you were taught when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., stays with you. And I think, which is right for kids not to talk to strangers, don't misunderstand me.
Yeah.
I am just saying that that lesson, it stays with you for the rest of your life. And that's one of the reasons, I mean, at least here in the States, there's no way, let's say in a McDonald's, you would sit down at a table when there are empty tables and, and have your burger with somebody else who you don't know sitting at the table with you. So even
Yeah.
just saying, may I sit down, if there are empty tables would sound strange because he or she wouldn't understand why don't you pick an empty table. So
Exactly. Yeah.
and then having a conversation with the guy is probably out of the question. So even if you had sat down, so all this has to do with, well, how am I going to meet somebody new if I don't dare to speak to anybody? And that's, I think, is
Right.
is the problem.
Right, right. I think that's true. Although in today's age, I feel like talking to strangers is a lot easier because of technology. But I mean, now that I mentioned technology, like how do you think has technology made us more, connected but somehow more lonely at the same time? It's very ironic, but it's very real and true.
Absolutely. This is the most connected decade of human history. But the problem is, as with everything else, it has been mistreated, misused. A best example is probably a dating app, not like a friending app, but on a dating app, you will see, I don't know what percentages, false or fake profiles. And
Right.
that's what I've been my misuse. Imagine a dating app where there are no fake profiles. Well, actually, that's what we did on Friending, which is a friending app, because everybody is verified, ID verified. So you can't have fake profiles. But getting back to the dating side, I think people or any app like Facebook or stuff like that, people have a misconception. Well, I have 1,000 friends or more on Facebook. But
Mm-hmm.
Friday night comes along and I don't have anything to do, anybody to go with.
Yeah.
So having virtual friends, most of them you've never met, you don't even know in a case of a dating app, perhaps if they're real, because soon as you may want to meet with them, they would ghost you because it turned out that that cute 18, 19-year-old girl or that cute, guy isn't really that cute or may not even be a guy or may not even be, at that age. So putting a fake picture up is very common on dating apps. That is why we do
Mm-hmm.
verification in friending. And the other difference is
Okay.
we're talking about your local area. So you have a chance to meet that person. It's not that that person is on the other side of the country or hundreds of
Yeah.
kilometers or miles away from you. It's in your neighborhood. So basically, what we're doing is doing a safe environment somewhere around you and suggesting activities. And nobody else does that. It's either not safe because you have no idea who that person is. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Catfishing
Yes.
and all that is a huge issue. And the problem is for dating apps, they want to solve it, but I mean, I will have more respect for them once they do. Like Bumble has about 45 million users. Now, imagine if tomorrow they said, well, everybody has to ID verify themselves, and that usership dropped by 20, 25. I have no idea how many percentage. What would the share price look like then? If you're suddenly
Yeah.
you lost, I don't know, 5, 10 million people of your groups. It's not in their interest to
Yeah.
solve it because all they're looking at is the absolute number. Well, I have 45 million. X amount of them is fake, but I don't really care because that's okay with me. So,
Yeah.
and that's the problem that there's no intent to solve it. There is no intent to get you off the app. And what we're doing
Yeah.
is we are moving you off the app. No, nobody does that because they think that it's great that you stay on the screen. I want to meet real people in a real life
Yeah.
and not Zoom. I spent half my birthday on Zoom. The last thing I need is more virtual stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I feel like a connection with the person you actually hang out with or meet with in person is different from like a person you just talk to online. There's just a different level of connection. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
You see their gestures, you see their demeanor. It's a whole different relationship. Um,
yeah,
when they say something, you could easily tell if it's sarcastic. Whereas online, especially if you're texting,
yeah,
you put emojis on there or whatever, but it's not the same as their physical reaction, their body language, etc. So nothing replaces online meetings. Humanity since the Stone Age were in tribes, in groups. So because of the, I don't know, last 30 years, there's technology to virtually connect us, which is great. Don't misunderstand me. We would have never had this
yeah.
podcast 25 years ago.
That's true.
So it's not the technology. It's the biggest problem with humans in general is how you use something. You can use it for good.
Yeah,
You can use it for bad. Technology benefits people, but online technology. But I could pick other stuff like guns. Now, it's not the gun itself; it's how you use it. That's the issue.
exactly.
And the
Yes.
same thing with the internet or your phone. It's great to have to be connected, especially perhaps if you have a teenage son or daughter. You can catch up with him or her. But you could also use it badly by having fake profiles and stuff like that. So it's not the technology. It's
Yeah.
unfortunately it's humanity who is misusing it.
I agree 100%. Let's circle back to like the problem or the struggle of making friends. What do you think holds most people back from putting themselves out there socially? I know you talked about like how we were raised and being told that you shouldn't talk to strangers, but like other than that, what do you think is what is the inhibition? Where is the inhibition coming from?
From the internet, I think that they are afraid to get out of the comfort zone. Um, and people under 30 were brought up in an internet generation in a technologically connected way. They are they never learned the skills of real life social interaction, how you quote unquote introduce yourself in real life, not
Yeah.
and they're missing a whole skill set that is required today to meet people in real life. They are absolutely fluent on internet jargon, emojis, and all
Yeah.
that, but they're missing the key factor of person-to-person relationship. How do you talk to somebody? How do you introduce yourself to somebody? um, etc. I think that skill set has disappeared for people, I don't know,
Yeah.
under 25, if you're a teenager or whatever. That is the biggest problem, that because they spend time, their free time that is in front of a screen, they never had the need, or they didn't realize that they have the need to meet somebody in person. I mean, I could give you an example. When I was a kid and I was riding my bike outside, if I did
Yeah.
something wrong, I was grounded, so I needed to stay inside, couldn't go out with my friends. Today, the world has gone upside down. If you did, for you not to spend so much time on the screen, you're sent outside to go on your bike. So what
Yeah.
what what
That's
used to
true.
be a punishment to stay inside has now turned into a punishment and go outside. So
I agree. Yes. That's so cool that you pointed that out because I just realized now how the true that is. Like it's it's so safe, or like it's so comforting for people to just stay inside and not interact with other people, as compared to, I know, we're not in the same generation exactly, but I feel like we have similarities in our generation, wherein we grew up playing outside, hanging out with neighbors and stuff like that. But the kids these days, like I have a younger brother who's 16. Oh, sorry, he's 18. I have a younger brother who's 18, and he doesn't hang out much with his friends. He's just on his phone, on his iPad, on the computer. And they would play video games every now and then, but it's still very different from actually socializing with people and actually connecting with people. um I want to say making new friends is as scary as dating, because there's also a fear of rejection when you try to make new friends and you don't know if this person likes you or if they're gonna wanna be your friend. I was wondering, do you have any like tips on how to get over this fear of rejection when it comes to making new friends?
I think, although you're right in comparing dating and friending, the stress or the rejection factor is, I think, less in terms of friending because, okay, fine, I'll find somebody. It's easier in some
Yeah.
respects to find a friend than a date because, so your expectations are different when you're looking for a friend and when you're looking for a date. Um, I would suggest that make an effort. You're not going to find anybody real if you're front of your screen. I mean, at least here in the
Yeah.
US, the problem of the COVID is that still a lot of companies allow you to work from home. So you spend perhaps 8 hours a day on Zoom call for your work, and then you spend the next 8 hours a day watching Netflix or whatever. So you spend your
Yeah.
day, literally your day, in front of a screen. And other than the fact it's bad for your eyes, it's bad for your psyche, it's bad all the way around. So you don't have a choice. But again, the fact I worked from home all my life, so I don't have an issue with that. But a lot of
Yeah.
people like going into work for the social interaction, for the 10-minute coffee break with
Yes.
your colleagues, and all that is lost for a lot of people who are psychologically unable to manage working from home, who don't have the physical space. You may be at home with two youngsters who are screaming, and your wife is trying to quiet that down when you're in this Zoom call,
Yeah.
work. So physical limitations, psychological limitations, all that is still around post-COVID. And as far
Yeah.
as finding friends, if you're not willing to go out and leave your screen behind, then there's not a lot I can do. You have to make the first step. I can create events. I can make sure that you're meeting safe people because they've been verified. But if you don't
Yeah.
get off your butt, I cannot force you to do anything. So
Yeah.
you have to realize that you're alone and you want to change. Until you do that, there's nothing I can do. Once you do that, I can
Yeah.
give you a tool to help you reach your goals easily. But without your deliberate actions, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So we're talking about your app, and I love how you mentioned that there's like an extra layer of security. So there's like an extra safety feature, and that's by being verified. And I think that's like a really important feature that you have for people to have more, peace of mind in terms of meeting a stranger online. But I've been, since I saw your profile on Podmatch, I was like, this is so interesting. So I tried to download the app. Unfortunately, I am an Android user. So I believe it's only available at the moment exclusively on Apple. Are you working on developing it for Android as well?
Yes, hopefully within a year it should be available on Android. There's
Okay.
only one feature that's sort of on Android because we also believe in real life gifting. So in the US, and this is only US specific, you can
Uh
send
huh.
coffee to your friends. And instead of sending a note, when you order the coffee on our website, you can type in a message, say, thank you for your podcast, Cafe. And instead of getting a separate note, encoded in a QR code that is on the packaging. So for you to
Oh.
be able to read that, the Android version would allow you to read the QR code because the recipient may have an Android phone. So if I send the coffee to you and you don't have an iOS device, for you to be able to read my message, the friending on the Android allows you to do that, but it's just for the reading the QR code on the
Right.
coffee packaging.
Okay, so yeah, I'm super interested in getting to know more on how the app works because I really, like I said, I wanted to try it out because I kind of, I was excited. I wanted to try because honestly, I have been on Bumble BFF, but there's not a lot of people using it out here. So I don't, and like you said, these apps don't have like an ID verified feature. So I'm also like not sure, am I talking to a real person? Could it be a bot or could it be just someone who's trying to catfish me? So it's very interesting to me to have this very safe app that I can use. But I want to know, how do you use it? Is it like, do you also swipe or do you search by interest? How does it
Um,
work?
at the moment, we are um, organizing activities. So we're looking for ambassadors on various local areas who would help
Okay.
us. There is also going to be probably about, I would say, 6 to 8 months away, a really great feature that is a addition to the friending. It will be called Friending Go. And all you
Okay.
would need to do to find friends is to walk past somebody who also has a friending app and the same interest. You don't need to do anything else.
Wow.
So that we will bringing find a friend from the virtual world up to the real world. I don't know how. Obviously, people walk past, maybe depending on the city, hundreds of people a day, perhaps in a 10 meter or 10 square meter radius or a 10 square yard radius. And if there's a person that, let's say you're looking for a tennis partner and somebody
Yeah.
else is looking for a tennis partner, it will let you know that a person and send the picture of who's nearby is also looking for a tennis partner. We're actually patenting this as we speak because it is a very
Okay.
novel idea. I don't want to go in any
Yeah.
further, but that is how you're going to be
Yeah.
able to find friends in the future on friending just by being outside on the street.
That is so cool. And then okay, so you connect with this person or you match with this person on the app, and then there's an opportunity for you to start a conversation with this person and make plans, correct? Is that how it
Yes.
works?
But basically, um, you don't need to do anything to match. If I walk past you and I'm looking for a tennis partner, so are you, it will notify both of our apps. So that's all you need. And then if you want, you could find me because I'm a few yards from you, and then we could see what happens from there.
That
So
is so
I
cool.
know
It's like
it sounds very futuristic, but I cannot
I
say more than
know.
that because I
Okay,
am
I respect
patent,
that.
patenting the concept as we
Yeah.
speak. But that's how you're
It's
going to
like
find able to find people on Friendly just by walking, doing your daily activities, going shopping, buying gift
yeah.
for your brother, perhaps, whatever.
That is so cool. You know what came to my mind? It's like Pokemon Go but for friends.
Yes.
It's so awesome. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Well, I can't wait for the Android one to be released because I am not really an Apple user, and I'm so excited to be able to use that. So, how many years has Friending been operating?
Well, starting a few years ago, initially with the concept, then we stopped it because what we actually did was we trademarked the word friending. And
Okay.
and I know it sounds strange, but we actually have a US trademark on the word friending.
Wow.
And to have that, what the US patent law calls uncontestable trademark, meaning you can't take it away from us, you need to have it for 5 years. So somebody who didn't agree with it had 5 years to say, hey, I don't think they should have it because it's maybe a widely used term or whatever. So US patent law waits 5 years for anybody to question the fact if this should be trademarked or not. And if nobody questioned it, after 5 years, you can't question it anymore. So even if Facebook says, "Hey, I've been using friending or whatever," nobody could use it as a software product, and nobody could call it
Yeah.
coffee friending because we have a coffee called friending. So basically, that is why we needed to wait for years, not to
Yeah.
raise any suspicion or any. I guess we were under the radar is the best way to put it for 5 years, and developing the app sort of slowly, and only coming really releasing the app in March, and then releasing the Friending Go version probably in about 6 months. So
So, Friending was just released March of this year?
yeah, so on iOS, yes.
Wow. Okay, so it's fairly new. How many people are on it, or how many
Not a
downloads has
lot,
it
in all
had?
honesty, because it is difficult to get people on it, but it is growing slowly. We're talking about a few hundred people in the US, but
Okay.
I'm hoping that more and more people will join. That is what we're looking for in any country, ambassadors who can help us organize events and get more people on the app.
That's awesome. This is such I love the concept of the app, and I'm going to just keep telling you over and over I love the safety feature
Thank
cuz
you.
I feel like that is such an important thing to have in this time of our lives, because like it's also so scary to meet strangers online and not being sure if you're gonna get kidnapped or mugged or whatever when you meet up with this person. And that's why when I meet up with like people I meet online, because I am guilty of using dating apps as friending apps. I used Tinder, I used Bumble to meet people when I first moved to Vietnam. And I would message my friends, "Oh, I'm meeting this person from Tinder or from Bumble," and I'll send them like a screenshot of their picture, just for me to feel a little bit more safe. But with this built-in security feature, I feel like it's such a great addition. It's such great value. So that's really cool. I really love it. Um, and Friending Go is going to be also super exciting. Imagine just like going about your day and then you get an opportunity to have like an encounter with a new potential new friend is also very exciting. I'd probably just go out even if I didn't have anything to do and just be on the app. I'm like, who am I going to find? Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
Um
Friendigo will have an additional security feature that
uh-huh.
basically, if you met somebody and you're uncomfortable, you will have the opportunity just by basically pressing a button to either get the police where you are based on your phone GPS location, or you could have the option of, well, I put this, give this friend, so he or she will come and get me, or anybody with a friending app could receive the alert and then they will come and help. So even though that you're meeting in a public place, perhaps you may not feel comfortable. That's another
Yeah.
security feature we're adding to Friending Go.
Oh wow. Okay, okay. So I love how your one of your strongest pillars is security. Um I feel like that's going to give a lot of people the peace of mind and more enthusiasm in trying the app, and I really hope I'm going to wait for that launch on Android because I'm super excited to try it. Um you said that if you had like a quote unquote bad experience, you didn't feel comfortable with this person that you met. Let's look at it like the other way. What if you had like a really good time with this person, but I also want to know, what does a genuine friendship actually require, and how do you know when you found the real one? From coming off the app and meeting this person, how do you know, like, oh, I feel like this is a real friendship building?
Yes, I think from my experience and generally speaking, you meet your friends a couple of times a week, once a week, depending how busy you are. So if you feel
Yeah.
that you want to do something together, that obviously means that you have a friend because you enjoy his or her company. You enjoy perhaps going to the movies, just sitting down for a coffee, discussing a book, playing tennis, whatever you happen to like. And if you rather not do it with him or her, that means he's not really a friend from your perspective. So it's, if you just call him to say hi or her to say hi, and then let's meet for coffee or let's do something on the weekend together, you would know inside that, yes, I want to spend time with that person. And that's how you know you got a real friend.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Because you wouldn't want to waste time and energy on someone you don't really consider a friend. Um, and I want to go back to the app. You mentioned that it suggests activities for users using the app. How does that go? Like, if I have another person on the app, does it like put us in a group chat and say, "Oh, you should try doing this activity based on your interests, blah blah blah." Is that how it works? How does the
You,
activity recommendation
yes,
happen?
you create in the app what is called "Are you in" card. So let's say you're into tennis or a movie. You could say there's two different "Are you in" cards. You can say, "Hey, I am going to the movie on Sunday. This is what I am seeing at 3 p.m. at this place. Let me know if you want to be there." So you form the group yourself, and then everybody who has who's in your neighborhood and put down as a movie as an interest will see that arguing card, or just generally you could look at arguing cards in your neighborhood. Oh, she's going to the movie. I wanted to see that. Let's go
Yeah.
together. Or so that is how you create group activities. You propose something
Okay.
yourself, and or you can also, in the new version, not in this one yet, in the new version, you will be able to create, hey, I'm going to dinner at this place, um, and I want to see who would show up. So you could have sort of surprise guests without knowing a lot about the individuals. Just saying, yes, I'll be there without specifics. And then you see
Yeah.
who, it's sort of a surprise table of,
Yeah, kind
of
of like a
or group of
blind date
people.
ish. Yeah.
Yeah, but for friends and more than, yeah. So
Yeah.
blind date for friends sort of thing. The other thing is perhaps you're jogging and you realize you want, this is already in there. You're jogging and you want somebody perhaps to jog with. And so you can say, here, this is where I am. And the other person can actually see where you are and join you in real time. So
Okay.
yeah, he's jogging, he's 2 blocks from where I am. Why don't I go out and jog with him? So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's the real time now, and there's the planning. version for the arguing cards,
Yeah.
and
That is
that's how you
so
create
cool.
activities.
I feel like this would be a super popular app amongst what do you call them? Digital nomads.
Hmm.
Cuz I feel like these people are always looking to meet new people at the new place where they're at. So
Yes.
I think that's something that could be super helpful for digital nomads also, cuz like I also used to travel a lot, or even just avid travelers who want to say do a tour, but like they don't know anyone who they can go on a tour with, and they didn't want to go alone, so maybe they can find someone who would want to join them on that tour. I think that's another way that it can be potentially used if it's not already being used that way.
There is a travel part to friending.
Oh,
What because as I was saying earlier, once we have enough users, it's going to be subscription based. Now it is not because we don't have sufficient users. So once we
yeah.
have, it's going to be about $5 per month in the US, and that
Okay.
allows you to see your neighborhood. Your neighborhood is defined as about 40 miles, 65 kilometers. So that's your
Uh-huh.
US being a biggish country. So people are used to traveling, more distances to meet friends.
Yeah.
But let's say you're traveling to Vietnam, and I want to meet people in Vietnam. So instead of paying $5, perhaps I would pay $10, and then I could see the whole world. And so
Ah, okay, okay.
I could say I'll be in Vietnam next week, and I'm looking for somebody to take me around Vietnam. I'm looking for a local to take me around. I'm looking for an American who happens to be in Vietnam in that time frame, and let's discover it together. So there is this travel part of the app as well. Once it's going to
Okay.
become a subscription base, that you can see your whole world, and you can say, well, I'm going here, I'm looking for somebody to do activities here. So you can
Yeah, so
plan
you can
ahead.
plan ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that is so cool. Okay, awesome. So I kind of have a better understanding of the app now, even if I have not like personally used it. And I can tell you, once you launch it on Android, I will be using it because I
Thank you.
personally struggle with making friends. And recently, what I have done was there's like this Facebook group called Hanoi Beautiful, which is like a massive group of like all the women, not all the women, but of women in Hanoi. And I
Only
made
women?
like a yes, cuz there's a male counterpart called Hanoi Handsome, which is
Mhm.
all the males. And then there's a bigger group called Hanoi Massive where it's like co-ed. So I personally was looking for like girlfriends, and because I've lived in Hanoi for like 3.5 years, and my two like best girlies have left already. So I'm like struggling to learn how to make new friends. And so I made this like really long post. I'm like, this is what I enjoy doing. This is like what I'm interested in. Does anyone want to be friends? And then I got a lot of responses from that, which is actually super cool. But it took a lot for me to get out there and put myself out there, and I feel like if I had the friending app by my side, it would have been easier. I also want to ask, like, is there like a filter for, like, say for example, I'm only interested in having friends a certain age range, or I kind of just want
Yes.
girlfriends, or okay.
Basically, I would appreciate it, perhaps, if you put it out there in that group that you can make friends easier if you download the friending iOS. I would really appreciate that.
Oh
Um,
yes, of course.
and secondly, to answer your question, it's not, well, it is age. You can set the age, but not with numbers. It's Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X,
Oh, okay.
and you can
It's by
also say
generation, yeah.
yes. You can also say male, female, and all the other variation, trans, this, gay, whatever
Yeah.
you happen
Oh, that's
to
so
feel comfortable with.
awesome.
So yes, I would appreciate it if you put it perhaps in the both on
Of
the Hanoi
course.
maps and the beauty, and if you can, on the male version, on the handsome part
I
as well.
can because my boyfriend is part of that group, so I will tell him to post.
I
Yeah,
do
we'll
appreciate
link it
your help,
there.
and because
Of
we are really
course.
trying, I never been to Vietnam, but we're really trying to help people, and that's the whole reason for
Yeah.
doing the app is to help people. But obviously, we cannot be everywhere, and the biggest struggle we're having here in the US and everywhere else is getting people on the app so we have sufficient number on the app to make it
Yeah.
worthwhile. And because without a critical mass, the app is not a useful app, unfortunately. So that is why
I
we're trying
see.
to make it as widely available as possible.
Right, right. I mean, there's so much potential to the app. I can already tell that it might just take some time, but I feel like it's gonna take off like really, really well.
We're not giving up,
I
so that's fine.
Oh no, yeah. You shouldn't because it's such a great app, I can already tell. Yeah, so I will definitely do that. I will also put the link to the download in the show notes so that people listening or watching the podcast can just click and download. Okay, so before I ask you for your details, because I do want to put all your details in the show notes, because I want to be updated. I want people to be updated on, progress and updates on like the availability of the app or new features and stuff like that. But I just wanted to tell you, Gabor, this has been such a warm and genuinely needed
Thank
conversation.
you.
Like, I feel like a lot of my listeners are going to walk away from this. I mean, feeling, a little less alone about feeling alone. Because all of us, especially in this time of our lives, like we have felt lonely one way or another, even in this very social world that we're living in. Yeah, so before we wrap up, is there anything you want to leave our listeners with, like a final thought or maybe a challenge for anyone who is kind of, ready to start showing up differently socially?
Yes, as I said, we're looking for ambassadors to organize local activities. We're looking for
Mm-hmm.
feedback. You can write to me, Gabor at friending.com or hello at friending.com. You can go to our website, which is friending.com. And there's, as I said, the iOS version on the App Store. And we're looking for feedback. And I guess one of the perhaps unusual thing in these days is that a person will respond and not an AI. So you will get a personal response, not an AI generated response. So
Yeah.
we are looking for feedback. It's a new app. I'm sure we could use everybody's advice in real life, what they liked, what they didn't like, what should
Yeah.
change. So I do appreciate that.
Yes, that would be great. Yes, so for everyone listening, go ahead and download the app, and I will tell you I'm jealous because I can't. But one day I will be, and I will be on that app 24/7.
Great.
Gabor, thank you so much for joining me today. I think, honestly, this conversation was long overdue because I know a lot of my friends and a lot of people here, especially in Hanoi, are like it's a common problem or a common struggle that we're all facing, and it's really hard to make friends. So yeah, I just really appreciate you and I appreciate your work, and I'm just consider me a fan. I
Wonderful. Thank you
am
so much.
I am just that. I'm over the moon. I'm so excited to try it out, and I'm excited for the people to try it out. I'm excited for the app to grow. It has so much potential, and it has such good intentions, and I just love that about it, and I love that about your work. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing friending to the world. It's gonna make a difference. I know it.
We very much hope so. That's our aim. So
Yeah.
thank you.
So you're welcome. So, yeah, to those tuned in, as always, thank you for spending some time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating, and drop a comment on whichever platform you're on. I want to know, when was the last time you made a real new friend? And what's your common struggle in making friends? Like, why do you feel you can't make friends? Let's keep this conversation going. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. Until then, sending love, life, and hope your way. Bye!